Everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Sony SEL 16-35Z, priced at $1350 US. This is a fairly expensive piece of full-frame E-mount glass, but also pretty much the only option if you're in the market for a wide-angle zoom lens. Keep in mind it's 16 to 35 millimeters, FE, again the designation for a full-frame E-mount piece of glass, f4 across that aperture, and very important, it does have optical steady shot. So this is a lens that's going to fare well both in the still and video world. In terms of pricing, recently Sony did do a wide-scale discount across most of their E-mount lenses and some A-mount lenses as well. So you can pick this up now for around $12.50 or $12.48 if we have to go literally to the US dollar. You may have noticed I've got the E-mount APS-C 10 to 18 mil lens, and that's because this was a great lens for APS-C shooters, but also for full frame, and that's because it just so happens to work from about 14 to 16 millimeters in a full frame body. So not intended for full frame use, but it does work, and look at that form factor. But all that aside, I felt it was time to pick up a legitimate full-frame E-mount piece of glass, especially since this has been on the market since close to, I think, the end of last year, the beginning of this year, 2015. And with regard to reviews and overall performance, if you've seen stills, if you've seen video, then you know exactly what this lens is capable of. In addition to that, we have, of course, the A7R Mark II, which I have been thoroughly enjoying. Quite frankly, the best camera on the market right now. You can see I've got the Zeiss FE 24 to 70 f4 lens mounted. I'll put that aside, but that is just an imaging beast. And if there was ever a reason to pick up this lens, it has presented itself. And actually that applies to a lot of the different FE glass that's out, since a lot has come out recently. So this isn't one of the newest pieces, newest additions to the FE lineup, but still one of the best, highly touted. Really, you will not find too much negative critique. I mean, some will complain that it's only f4, but if you're doing landscapes, if you're doing traditional wide-angle shooting with proper lighting conditions, this really shouldn't be an issue. Go ahead and get this thing out of the box. Saw a little bit of paperwork there. Now to the actual lens itself, which appears to be pretty well wrapped and also have a lens bag. And here we've got some more paperwork. Basically covering everything, warranty, all the things you'd expect. And let's get this thing out of the packaging. Now this is the reason I have the 24 to 70 mounted on the A7R Mark II is because they are very similar in form, just a little bit heavier here on the Zeiss 16 to 35. So I wanted to be able to compare that. I do like that this is included, and it should be at its price point. Again, it is an expensive lens, but you are getting what you pay for in just about every regard. So here it comes, the lens itself, and then we've got the lens hood at the base of the bag, which I'm pulling out right now. Move that over, and there is the lens hood. Similar design to basically all the Zeiss branded glass. You've got a plastic metal combo, so definitely more substantial than what you would get with a traditional all-plastic lens hood. Not critical, but something I want to point out. And here is the lens itself. So again, almost exactly the same size, design, look, and feel as the 24 to 70, but of course, completely different range, very smooth on the zoom, exact, or not exact, but again, very similar design in terms of operation and the glass itself. And there it is, 72 millimeter thread for those of you that are curious with regard to throwing filters on here. And I just expect great things. I wanted this back when it launched, but really was waiting for something like the A7R Mark II. So now that we've got it, it made perfect sense to throw this into my lineup. So now I'll be leaning on this for wide angle. Instead of the 10 to 18, the 24 to 70 Zeiss that you just saw, and then of course the 70 to 200G. And that pretty much completes the range. Now you could go with a prime piece of glass, wide angle. I mean, Zeiss has put out a 25 mil, and there's no question, just to put these side by side before I mount it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, they're literally just about identical in terms of size and overall weight. This is a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but really, really close. But when it comes to overall I would say, fit and finish, it's nice to have uniformity. And again, with those lenses I just mentioned, I pretty much cover everything. The Zeiss wide angle, the 25, isn't going to give you the 16 mil that this lens will, but it will give you an f2 aperture, which is definitely an advantage. But there you have it, mounted on the body. Pretty much what I expected. I mean, I've already seen this, used it, tested it, so I knew what I was getting myself into. It was just a matter of really being able to justify picking this up and starting to shoot with it. And again, the fact that it has the f4 and the OSS, the optical steady shot, in my mind makes it a must-have, because it really essentially is as versatile as it could be. And when you're pairing it with something like the A7R Mark II, where you can shoot UHD video as well as 42 megapixel raw stills, you want to have the best of both worlds, and that's exactly what a lens like this provides. So if you're after landscape, you want a really great lens for that 16 to 35 range, you will not be disappointed with this, I'm fairly sure. Of course, I will be updating on this with time, but I already know what to expect, which is why I just invested my own money in it. As usual, like most of the stuff that I share with all of you. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.